All right, so hello everyone. My name is Becky and I'm from Scott Roy Marketing. Today we are going to be doing our DocuSign 101 class. Um, so we're going to be covering the basics of using a command or a KW DocuSign account, connecting it to your command and things like that. If you are here with me live, please drop questions as you have them in the chat and I will do my best to answer them as I go through, and otherwise I will save a few minutes at the end to make sure that I get those answered for you. I'm dropping a couple links in the chat right now. So we have our email address, which is support@scottleroymarketing.com. If you have questions, even after the recording's over, things like that, feel free to email us. That goes for everyone watching this replay as well. Feel free to email us, support@scottleroymarketing.com. We're always happy to help out. Some things are easier to troubleshoot if we can jump into your account and figure it out there. So again, feel free to drop questions in the chat as we go. But we're going to jump right on into this. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to be in our command account. And we're going to cover how you can both create a KW DocuSign account and connect an account to command. So KW DocuSign Rooms is a specific account created that works in conjunction with command. So not all of the basic DocuSign accounts are going to work with command. A KW account does need to be created through command. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So we're going to go ahead and jump in. So first we're going to log into command, which is agent.kw.com with our KW login credentials. Once we're logged in, the first thing we're going to check is that connection right there for our DocuSign. So we're going to click our name in the top right corner, and then we're going to click settings below that. Once you're here, you'll see your digital signature and transactions apps that you can connect. So some market centers use dotloop. I'd say probably a good 90% do use DocuSign, and that is what we're covering today. But a few market centers use dotloop, or for example, some agents in Canada might use a different platform. So if you aren't using if your market center uses a different platform, that's totally fine. You just might want to reach out to them and ask, about connecting that. If you have dotloop, you can feel free to email us. We can help with that as well. But we're going to jump into DocuSign. So right here, you're going to click Connect Account. And here is where you would create an account if you need to create a new DocuSign account. So you just enter your name, last name, it'll automatically populate, but you can edit that if you need to. And then you would just enter your preferred email that you want the account created under. It's not required to be a KW email. Generally, it's easiest to make sure that there's no other DocuSign account connected to it. So if it's a new KW email, then generally it's going to be under that. But as long as it doesn't have another DocuSign account created, you'll be good to enter that email and then just click send registration email. It's going to send an email over to you with the steps to complete an invite to join DocuSign. So you'll fill that out. Make sure you do it from the email. Again, it does have to be done through command specifically. And then once you do that, you'll have a button right here that says authorize. And so if you're seeing that on your side, that's just making sure you authorize that your account has been created, and that'll finalize the connection between command and DocuSign. If you have an existing KW account and you just need to connect it, we'll do the same thing. We'll click connect account, and then we'll just, where it says, do you have an account already? Log in here. We're going to click log in here. It's going to ask us to enter the email address that it is under. Let me grab that. And then we'll just say log in to DocuSign. It's going to pop out a tab to have us sign in. It might take a second. There we go. And then you'll just enter your password and click log in. Then once that's been done, you'll get this teal banner that says DocuSign is now ready and can be found in the opportunities section. You'll also see the status has updated to connected. So we have that all connected now. Um, so the next thing we want to do is we are going to go to access to an opportunity, and that's how we're going to create a room um, so that you can send that over. Our DocuSign class is kind of a part two to our opportunities and sales pipeline class. So the opportunities and sales pipeline class is going to show you how you can do an opportunity from the very beginning of the process all the way to the closing table. So that walks you through opportunities entirely. So we're just going to use an existing one today. But if you're needing help with creating an opportunity or moving it through the pipeline or things like that, please feel free to check out our recording on our YouTube channel. I did drop that link in the chat, but it is just Scott Leroy Marketing on YouTube, and you can go find Opportunities in Sales Pipeline is the name of the other class. So that's kind of like a part one to this. They work very closely together, so you can watch either first. It's not a big deal, but they do work very closely together. So I'm going to go ahead and go into my opportunity. And this opportunity is not currently connected to DocuSign, but this details tab. This is going to feed over to our DocuSign once we connect it to a DocuSign room. So you can go in and fill in as much of this information as you'd like. You can also do this later on. You can come back and edit it and then sync it over to your DocuSign. I'll show you how to do that as well. But you would just go through and click the pencil, and then you can fill out that information. So to connect our DocuSign to a room, you're going to click the Documents tab. And on here, so this part can be a little bit different for different market centers. It depends on the setup. Some of them have different checklist types that you'll need to select before you can create a room. If you're not seeing any of this right here, and you see the start a transaction, but you can't click on it, you likely just need to select that checklist type. You just click where mine says residential, and then some examples of that could be, it could be commercial, it could be resale, something like that. It totally depends on your market center setup. So that's a little bit different per office. But since we have that connected, what we're going to do is we're going to click Start a Transaction. And since we have our DocuSign account connected, it's going to bring us directly to DocuSign. It's going to create a room directly. Takes a minute to do that. But you do need to create that room through your opportunity in order for it to all sync properly. So if you just come to your DocuSign and create a room, it's not going to sync to your DocuSign. So you'll just want to make sure you're always creating the room from within the opportunity by clicking Start a Transaction. Once you have created the room, you'll be able to access it by going to DocuSign and logging in directly. You do not have to go through the opportunity each time for that. But you can just click go to transaction and it will take you directly to the room. So right here, you're going to see this also has the details tab right here. And we can see this information pulls over. So we have our seller name and email, but that we don't really have much else because we haven't filled out our details tab over here. So you would be able to go through, we can enter our address right here. Just grab that one. And then you can select your property type if you need to, classification, things like that. We'll just save that. And then you'll see that it shows edited right here. So that just means that it hasn't synced over to our command account or our DocuSign account, excuse me. It just means that it is currently only showing on our opportunity. You can just click sync transaction right here. It's going to ask if you're sure you want to proceed. You'll just say update. And then I'm just gonna hit refresh. There we go. And now it's saying synced. So we can go over to our DocuSign room and we can refresh this page as well. And that should all pull in. There we go. So now we can see the address pulled in. Anything else that we updated on this tab, would pull in over to details where it would fit on here. You can also make any edits through here. You would just click the edit pencil. There's a ton of different fields. So it's not required to fill out all of these fields, and not all of these fields are going to show up on your forms that you would be using, so it's not necessary to add the information to each of these forms. The more you get used to filling out the forms, the more you'll know what information you do need added here and what information you can skip. So feel free to check that out. We're going to go over, I want to show you one more thing about setting up your DocuSign account before we jump fully into signatures and things like that within DocuSign. So one thing you'll want to do to save yourself some time is you'll want to make sure you have your documents set up. So your forms with your NAR forms. So you would just click your name in the top right corner or your initials, whatever it is in there. Then you're just going to click Preferences. And under Preferences, we're going to click the Integrations tab. So this is where we're going to connect our NAR forms using our NERDS ID, or I believe they're also updating that to M1 number, but more commonly known as a NERDS ID. But you would do that here. So if you are part of an NAR association, which again, most market centers are, then you would connect it here. You would just click Add Provider. And then if you don't already see your company forms right here, those are forms that your market center would have added. Once you click Add Provider, where mine says Continue to Company Forms without validation, mine's grayed out. If yours is blue and a hyperlink, you'll be able to click that and it will add those forms for you. And again, it'll look like that. But then you'll just go in here and you'll add your NAR association. You'll pick one of those. Most of them are under this NAR right here. You'll enter your member ID, which is going to be your NERDS number. You can also, if you're not sure of it, you can click Find Your Member ID. And there you can either enter last name and email or last name and real estate number. So you'll want to make sure your last name is exactly as it is on your license, because otherwise sometimes it can cause an error when pulling that up. So any punctuation, capitalization, it will have to be exactly how it is on your real estate license. So you'll just enter your name, license number there, click submit, and then it should show you your NERDS ID. But you can go there and then you'll enter that ID there. Last name, again, make sure it matches your real estate license exactly. Sometimes it'll have like a middle initial or things like that. And that can cause an error with pulling that in. So just make sure all of that is the same across both your board, your association, and your real estate license. And then you'll just pick your association from the list that shows up here. So you can just scroll through. There's a bunch of different options in there. And then you would just click Validate, and you'll see NAR show up right above your company forms. It'll look almost exactly like this, and it'll just say NAR. You're also able to integrate Dropbox, Google Drive, or Box right here. If your market center does use zip forms, you can do that right here as well. You would just click that. It's important to note that this is going to be a zip form username and password, not going to be like your NAR association logins. That does sometimes confuse some people. So you can go through and add that if you are using zip forms, and that'll integrate those. So just something you want to make sure is set up there. Again, some states and Canadian agents will get forms from a third-party platform, and so they might not use DocuSign, or they might get those directly from their real estate commission, and then they would upload them to DocuSign and send them. So if your market center does use that, again, that's not very often that that happens. Most market centers do go through this process right here. So we're going to go back to our rooms, and we're going to find that room that we just created. It's going to be that one that we just did. So once we are in here, I want to show you how you can add forms to your DocuSign room. So there's a couple different ways. We're going to go over to our Documents tab. So we can either click the Add button up at the top, and we can add DocuSign forms, we'll just click that. And then you'll see your different libraries down here. So any of the associations you're a part of, you'll see those through there. So you can select from there, whichever one you're looking for. And then you can go through and find the document that you're looking for. There's also packets right here. So a packet is going to be created by your NAR association or your market center. And that's just going to be a group of forms that work for that specific thing. So if this one is a specific office, some of them have like different areas. So listing documents for Virginia, buyer, rentals, things like that. So you can go through and look at those. You will likely not have as many as I have right here. But you might. It's totally up to your market center and things like that. So then you'll just go through, you'll grab the forms that you're needing. So we do have a listing. So we'll just do here. Just trying to grab one, but let's go to that one. Maybe that'll be easier. So you'll see a couple in here, just different ones. We can also search, just help if you know the right name of the form. We'll just grab that one. You'll just select it. You can also preview it right here with this eye icon. It'll take a minute. Don't be alarmed at it saying sample form. They're all going to say sample form. It won't show that when you go to sign it. So you'll just go through and you'll grab some of those forms that you need. You can also, sorry about that. I'll just go down. Oh my, there's a lot. Okay. Then you can just grab the ones you need. We'll just grab a few in here. If it'll let me, there we go. So then you would just click add selected. It'll take a minute. It'll add those to your room. So that's how you would add those forms directly. You can also add them from zip forms, any of these three providers down here, or you can upload directly from your computer. Either by clicking here, it'll open up your files and you can do that there, or you can drag and drop a PDF from your files. It will have to be in PDF format. We can do that and we'll see that it uploads here. So you'll see a difference across these little icons in here. So the forms, those are going to be your board or association forms right here. PDF does mean that it doesn't have, it's not a fillable form, but we can edit that. We can make, add some form boxes to that, as well as grabbing these. We also have the option to email forms to ourselves. So we can go to the inbox right here, and you'll see your DocuSign email address right here. That's going to be different for everyone. But for example, if you are, maybe you're a buyer and the other agent emails you some documents, you can forward that to yourself at this email address and it will add those documents to your inbox and then you can parse them out to different rooms, whichever room is applicable there. But that's the other way you can add forms to your room. So then we want to look at how to edit the forms. So we talked about filling in these details right here, both in the DocuSign room and in the opportunity. That's going to bring those over to our different forms we have in here. So if we look at, we have some options for editing the forms. So when they are already a form, you'll just click on that form. It does always take a second to load, just because it has to pull in all those fields. And then you'll see through here, this probably wasn't the best form to grab because it doesn't have a lot of options for filling out, but it'll have this box right here already filled out. Don't be alarmed if you're not seeing the signatures right here. That will populate when you send it out for signature. Let me see if I can another one. Just trying to grab one that has more options on it. a lot of, it's just pulled in over here. Everywhere has a little bit different name for it, so we'll just go with what we have. That's fine. No big deal. Maybe this one has more. There we go. So you can see it better on here. It'll have all these different numbers that you can fill out. So you can say it's amendment 1. We can add in the date. Then we can fill these out right here. Sometimes it does look like they're overlapping. Just know that when you do go to send it out, it won't overlap quite as much. So it will be fine. Sometimes it can look a little crowded, but you'll be fine. Then we would just click Save and Close. And that'll save our changes. So that's how we would fill that out right here. The editing our PDFs or our flat PDFs that we've already uploaded is going to be a little bit different. You'll actually do that in the envelope when you go to send the envelope out for signature. So we'll talk about that in just a second. There's a couple of things I want to point out as well when you go to create these forms or you go to select these forms. So you can select multiple. And then this hidden action menu is going to appear right here. So a couple of things you might need to use: a copy button, if you need to move it, email it somewhere, print them out, combine PDFs, you can do that here. Creating an envelope, we'll cover that in just a second. If you need to download them, you need to archive it, you can bring it back from the archive, you can restore it if it's been archived. You cannot restore it if it's been deleted. So make sure you're being careful before you go to delete something. You would have to bring it back in. It would delete any changes you made to those forms. So the next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to send these documents out to get signatures. So you'll click on the forms that you need, and then you'll just click the Create Envelope button. I do see a question in the chat. Will this video be sent out? I missed the first 20 minutes. That is no problem at all. We do have some recordings on our YouTube channel. This particular class will be uploaded on our YouTube channel within 24 hours. Since it's Friday, it will probably be end of day, but definitely within 24 hours. I can drop the link to our YouTube channel in the class once again, of course. So if you go to, I just dropped the link to our YouTube channel in the chat, but if you do go to the YouTube channel, it's going to be the first video under this videos tab. So it'll be right in here in the top one because these are going to be our most recent videos. So if you're looking for the one from today, just come to the videos tab. It should be right at the very top. Then we'll come back here. So again, we're going to create an envelope here to send those out for signatures. And we'll just click this pencil right here after we've selected the forms we need. This will create. So you'll also see what roles are being added, who are you sending this to. You do want to make sure you select all of the applicable recipients because then it will fill in, it'll put a signature block for whoever you're sending it to. You can add it later if you forget to add it to this, but we recommend going ahead and adding those in now. So maybe we're sending it to our buyer and our seller. So we'll say continue. It does take a minute. Or two. Alrighty. So then once you're in here, if maybe you need to see which ones you brought in because you maybe aren't sure if you grabbed the right one, you can just click view. It'll populate here. Don't worry that you don't see any of these blanks filled in, even if you edited it in the room. It will appear. This is just showing you what form it is. So it'll have all the information you already added to it. It just won't show it on the preview here. If you need to add more documents, you can upload it right here, or you can maybe switch the order of these around by dragging and dropping. Down below, you'll be able to set the signing order. So we can go through and we can say who needs to sign. I didn't have a contact on there for that, so that's why I would need to fill it out. If you do have the contact in the details field, that should automatically fill out as well. But you can go through and you can make sure this information is correct. You can choose whether they need to, what role they need to play in this, whether they need to sign it, if they're an in-person signer, if they just need to receive a copy, if they need to view it, if they're allowed to edit, things like that. So you'll see those through there. We can also change the order around by dragging and dropping those. For some reason, it's not updating the number on the side right now. Seems to be a glitch. Hopefully it'll be fixed really quick. But otherwise you can update those numbers manually and that should work just fine. But that's the order that it will be sent to them and who needs to sign that way. We can add more recipients if we need to. Maybe we need someone to get a copy of it. Adding delays, we can do that as well. And then down below, you can add a message. So right here, it'll generally just have complete with DocuSign and then the name of the form. But you can go through and you can change the subject if you need. You can go through and enter an email message. You can also make it custom for each recipient. So you can make it custom for this person, email language, email subject, and message. And same for the second person, you're able to adjust all three of those. So once that is set up, we're going to hit next. It's going to be loading. And then in here, you're going to see those different forms that we have in here. So this is the flat PDF that I uploaded, so there's no fields on it right now. But if we go to the one that we did upload, since I switched the order, now you can see that those fields are filled in how you had it on there. They do look like they're overlapping a little. Again, when you go to send it out, it will not look as overlapping. But you can go through and you can add fields that you need. You'll notice at the top that it's color-coded per person. So if you scroll down, you'll see it down here as well. So the green is going to be this person. It's going to be the buyer. The blue is going to be the seller. However you have it set up here, whoever your first and second recipients are, that's how they're color-coded. So you can change those around. So we can add fields for either person needs to fill it in. Maybe someone needs to initial. We'll drag and drop that there. And we can resize it if we need to. And then you can add the date signed. The date signed cannot be resized, so just something to keep in mind when you are playing around with that. That can't be resized, but the initials, the signatures, those can be resigned. So you can go through and you can just drag and drop them there. But then if we go back up to our other, I do see a question, what happens if we need recipients to fill out some fields for us, not just initial and signature? That's a great question. We have a bunch of field options down here. So you can go and again, you would just drag and drop where you need it. So text box right here, that'll have them fill it out. You can make it a required field. You can make it read only so that you enter the information and they read it. But you can have them fill it out. You can add check boxes or radio buttons if you need to. So you can add that right there so they can select those. Again, you'll be able to make it required field or not required field at all. And you can change the recipient that needs to do it right in there as well. So there's some options to play around with that. But you can add a bunch of different fields that need to be added in here. So check boxes, radio buttons, text, numbers, things like that. So that's how they would be able to fill it out. And if it's required, it's going to make sure they sign it before it comes back to you. So you can just make sure all of that is added in there. Just review, make sure you have signature boxes wherever you need it. Make sure you have them in the right spots. And then you would just click the actions button at the top. You can save and close or discard it right here. You can also preview the form right here, and it's going to show you that. And if we scroll down, you can get down to these other forms down here. But you'll see right here that that information is not overlapping as much as those boxes look like they were. So they'll be able to not see all of the extra boxes. And again, they'll see the box right here where they can fill out this information right here. And then you can view it either as either person. So totally up to you. You can view that, and then it'll come back to you once it's been signed. So we have the options. We can send it. We can also click the drop-down menu right here and send it later. So you have that option, or we can save and close now, which is what I'm going to do. And that's going to save it as a draft in our envelopes. So we can go over here. If we need to edit it later on, we can certainly do that. We would just flip between those tabs here. And then next, I do want to show you how you can add signed documents to the opportunity to submit it to your market center. So you're going to go over to your opportunity in DocuSign, and we're going to go to the Documents tab. And then in here, you'll see attached files from DocuSign in the working folder, whether it's your room docs, things like that. But then you'll just go through and you'll select the form right there that matches the requirement and the document that's required to be right there. So if it's miscellaneous, we can drop that up there if we need to. Takes a second to upload sometimes. We can do the same thing if we were to go to another room and we need to attach something directly from our computer. You would just click My Computer Manual, and then you can either, again, click Browse, or you can drag it and drop it. Helps if you put it right there. So you'll be able to add those there. And once you've done that, you'll be able to submit it to the Market Center, and it will send it over for approval. You just want to make sure you have all of those required fields in there so that you are fully compliant on those as well. So we're going to go back over here. Let's make sure I covered all of that information. Maybe we can look at so you'll see the people that are assigned to that room. It'll have your market center staff and things like that. Again, envelopes, we can create new envelopes. We can select the envelope and we can then discard it from within the envelope if we need to. We have options within those. Just a second. There we go. So again, that's how you would just edit it. You would open it again. You can discard it under the actions menu up top, or we can just save and close it again. And things like that. So I believe that's all I have today. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the recording, but if you have questions, please drop them in the chat. I'm happy to get those answered for you. I know I moved a little fast, so I'm a fast talker. So if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat. Or if you're watching the recording, please feel free to shoot us an email, support@scottleroymarketing.com. If you're not sticking around for questions, thanks for joining me. I hope it was helpful for you all.